Hey folks, this is Jake Davis with my final installment in my Bond by Bond series, which means, of course, it's time to talk about Daniel Craig. Now, Daniel Craig's fifth and final film, No Time to Die, was scheduled to come out this month, which is why I was doing the whole damn thing. But it has been postponed till November because of this whole wonderful extended global renaissance fair we're living in right now. Uh, Craig has been a polarizing Bond, and his films, like most Bonds, have really been a mixed bag. So let's get into them. 2006 rolls around, and it's important to point out at this time, Sony has bought the property for James Bond films. They're still got the Ian Bercoli uh, connection, it's still that studio, that franchise, but it's no longer United Artists doing the films because they've been bought by Sony. So, because of the big success of Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins, critical success, I should point out, because a lot of people forget that Nolan's first Batman film was a bit of a disappointment. I mean, it was in no way a flop, but, the fact that it was outgrossed by shit like Wedding Crashers in Madagascar had to be kind of shot in the foot for Warner Brothers. And I still maintain the movie flopped. Or the movie that flopped. The movie was a disappointment at the box office because they did not promote the villains. There's barely a glimpse of Scarecrow and Ra's al Ghul going into those films. Ra's al Ghul you ultimately understand because of the whole twist ending they did. But Scarecrow, well, you understand because they made him look fucking stupid. Anyhow. Casino Royale rolls out, and it's Bond Begins. Blonde Bond Begins. And I hated Casino Royale. I was very off. I didn't want to see it because I didn't like the Begins thing. I didn't like the casting. I thought Craig was a poor choice for James Bond. Be a much better choice for like a Bond villain. And I just thought he was kind of homely. He's not a handsome man. Uh, so the movie comes out. I really wanted nothing to do with it. I didn't like the gimmicks, and I got talked into seeing it by a buddy of mine. Said it was real good. Check it out, and then I checked it out, and I fucking hated it. Oh man, I hated it. It's the movie tries so too hard to be like the Jason Bourne movies, and it's so goddamn trying so hard to be trendy. You know what I mean? It's obviously 2006 when you watch that movie, and that's kind of always been the problem with the Bond movies. They're every one of them is criminally dated to the exact year it came out, while at the same time the whole franchise is stuck in 1962. Go figure. Anyhow, now what I didn't like Casino Royale. The movie was a hit, made a lot of money, and it overall got a lot of good reviews. Even to this day, people really like it. And like I said, I never have. Ava Green as Vesper Lynd was one of the better things about the film. And I still say if it was a reboot of her starting Bond from Go, why is Judi Dench coming back as M? That baffled me. In the film where she first plays M, GoldenEye, they make a big deal about her being the new M and her kind of pseudo calling him sexist because he doesn't like a woman as M. It was really stupid to handle it that way. Anyhow, Ava Green, Mads Mikkelsen, which started his trilogy of eye-centric villains. And it was, in a way, kind of faithful to Fleming's original novel. But it just, what they changed was lame. I thought it had a shitty third act. I mean, there's like 35 minutes after the movie after James Bond kills the bad guy. And there's no real stakes in what essentially is the third act. Uh, and it has a pretty cool last 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah, sure. And it has a great theme song by Chris Cornell. One of the best Bond themes of all time, if you ask me, man. Just, it's rock and roll. It's pure Cornell. It's purely his own. And those great vocals. The best voice of the entire generation, if you ask me. It sounds and feels like a James Bond movie. Its only real flaws are that it's kind of got stupid lyrics, and it's in this movie. So ultimately, I didn't like Casino Royale, and I was not down for the Daniel Craig run. Quantum of Solace rolls around, and Quantum of Solace, I don't remember what the deal was, but it almost totally slipped under my radar. It was like it was TV spots were showing up. I was like, fuck, they got a new Bond movie coming out? Like, I didn't even care. They got the guy who, Mark Forster directed it, which just baffled me because you see Monsters Ball and go, you know what? That guy should make an action movie. I don't know why they thought he was the dude to make this film. And even now, Quantum of Solace sucked. His follow-up action movie, World War Z, was just, oh my god, painfully awful. The worst zombie movie ever made. And I'm counting Zombie 3, and Zombie 4, which are all the same film. Look that shit up. That's a whole different video. That's a whole different video talking about those fucking things. Anyhow, Quantum of Solace has one really cool James Bond sequence, a scene in it, where he's eavesdropping on the big bad guy meeting at whatever the fuck it is. Like, I want me a horse race or something. And, interrupts with, I'm sorry, gentlemen, but I hate to break up a meeting. It was really, really cool fucking James Bond scene. It gets bonus points for being, I believe, the only James Bond film under 2 hours long. I thought that was kind of bold, for something like that. And also gives cool points for having good Bond babes. Olga Kurylenko is a good actress, totally unappreciated and overlooked in Hollywood just because how goddamn beautiful she is. And this happens a lot for women, where they'll see this woman, that she's a model. She's not an actress. She's just too pretty. And I like that Charlize Theron fought against that shit for years. And then in the other Bond babe, Gemma Arterton, she was really good in Quantum of Solace. I dare say easily the best thing about the film. But it had a horrible villain, Althea Merrick, who was just a different character in every fucking scene. And I didn't like the tying into Casino Royale, which is overall a problem in the Craig films. I don't like how they're connected. Don't make it a traditional franchise where the new movie is a sequel to the last one. That's not how Bond moves, man. I hated when they pointed out in Die Another Day, this is your 20th mission. No, it's not. The fucking Dr. No was his first mission. He's already a 00 agent, but this was his first mission. That was stupid. And of course, the song, Another Day, or Another... I think it's Another Way to Die. I forget the name of the song. But I still remember it was good, but I can't sit here and remember a thing about the song. Jack White and Alicia Keys did together, and it was a decent enough Bond song, but totally forgettable. Next up is Skyfall. And despite everything that's said about Daniel Craig so far, I want y'all to understand that this is my all-time favorite James Bond movie. What is it about Skyfall? Is it the amazing villain? Yeah. Is it the patient build and character of the story where it's not about the gadgets, it's about the mystery and everything unfolding? It feels more like a detective spy movie than just a toy commercial. The brilliant ending of establishing Moneypenny and M as these characters before it's revealed, this is the real M. This is the real Moneypenny. And the Q. I love their Q taking a beat from Triple X, having a younger, kind of hip, excited, enthusiastic kind of young man who's behind all these gadgets, made more sense to me. And, I might have to do a retro review one day for Triple X. I love that fucking movie. Yeah, I love Triple X. Dude, I'll get off on a whole side thing to talk about that anymore. But yeah, Skyfall was, we'll keep, so much about a great Adele song, maybe the best James Bond song of all time, because as everything is said, it's where it's the title of the song, it's just a straightforward love song. It really has nothing to do with the movie, the story, I mean, and the melody is very James Bond sounding. And then there's the music, amazing music from James Newton Howard for this film. And the practical effects are gorgeous. I love how the movie almost centralizes in Europe. I mean, almost entirely in Europe. I love how he the bit with how he has his gadgets and shit, but most of the weaponry is just a straight, here's a Glock, here's a sawed-off shotgun, that kind of shit. I really like this movie, man. Skyfall is a masterpiece. But the absolute best thing about Skyfall is James Bond. Is what they do with him. They take it right back to, this is a cold, dark man who, I mean, he's a fucking assassin. He's a spy. Just show that this is fucked up. The Rorschach test, or the name is the word association test scene. Oh, it's one of my favorite scenes ever. Maybe my favorite scene in all of James Bond movies. Uh, the entrance of Raul Silva, not just the whole great one take Javier Bardem does, but the when they shoot the girl, he guns the girl down in a party. What do you think about that? I think it's a waste of a good scotch. And then there's the lack of Bond invincibility. I talked a lot about how in the Pierce Brosnan movies, it's very much of a Die Hard-like vibe they're going for with Bond in those movies, and several of them, especially World's Not Enough and Tomorrow Never Dies. But it's always just scratches and bruises and scrapes, a little bit of blood on the surface. It's never not real injuries. You know what I mean? And Daniel Craig's Bond, I mean, his wounds show. He gets busted up and lie. That's great, and especially in Skyfall. In the first 10 minutes, before we get to the opening credits, he's been shot twice. And there's only one other James Bond movie where he's ever been shot. Skyfall was a true rejuvenation of the character. And it was the first Bond movie to be nominated for an Oscar since For Your Eyes Only, and the first one to win an Oscar since Thunderball. It is the quintessential Bond flick, in my opinion. Which unfortunately brings us to Spectre. I didn't hate Spectre, but I really didn't like Spectre. On first viewing, it was just disappointing, but 5 years later, almost now, it's like, man, I don't ever have to see it again. I hate Blofeld being connected, being the backer behind the other three villains, previous movie villains, the Craig films. I hate the fact that they're brothers. Are you kidding me? That's bullshit. I hated the ending in every way, shape, and form. Didn't they have some kind of super blood situation going on in this one? That seems right, but I might be wrong. No, it was the way they ripped off into Star Trek Into Darkness, where the way there's, oh no, it's not Blofeld, it's this guy, it's fucking Blofeld. We know it's going to be Blofeld. Stop pretending like you're going to be a surprise. There's no surprise here. Then there's, Dave Bautista was awesome. But more things I really hated about the thing was I didn't like the ending of James Bond shows mercy on Blofeld. Are you fucking kidding me? That's such bullshit. And he drives off to the sunset with his new girlfriend. I didn't like any of this. Anything about the whole setup and the way they played Bond. It was almost trying to feel like, to give him a happy ending. No, he's fucking Bond. He's an assassin. He's a dark, tortured soul, man. In his first film, he's literally driving around with a corpse in his backseat just because he got nothing else to do with the guy. So might as well be funny about it. Prop him up and give one-liners to the valet when they go to park the car. James Bond's a prick. He's just not the psychopath trying to take over the world. The new movie, which was supposed to come out, No Time to Die, it's directed by Cary Fukugawa, I believe is the way you pronounce that. I probably fucked it up. But he was the creator of True Detective. He wrote a big part of the script for It. And it's Naomi Harris is returning. Well, that's great. And so is, what's her name? Lea Seydoux. Why? No need for her to come back. And with the inclusion of really high... Lashana Lynch is going to be the new 007. My dad has even gone out... He predicts it's just a gimmick. The story's going to be about... Even if Craig is leaving the franchise, the story's going to be... He wants to leave. She's the new 00 agent, but she's going to get killed. She's going to get killed at the end of the movie. It's not going to be like a passing of the torch, Bond's a chick permanently now. And even the studio has backed off since that shit in the recent months. Even though James Bond will always be a man, this kind of shit. And but even Lashana Lynch, come on, she was awful in Captain Marvel. She was really, really bad in that movie. She was easily the worst performance in that film, and there's lots of bad acting in that movie. And finally, there's Rami Malek. Come on, man. I loved Bohemian Rhapsody. It was silly. It's, I even supported him winning the Oscar, but retrospectively, he probably shouldn't have won the Oscar. I mean, over the guys who were nominated, he probably I don't give a shit. They didn't nominate John David Washington for Black Klansman that year. And so yeah, man. I don't see him as any kind of physical threat, like at all. I mean, if he was like if he ends up being he's a sniper or just this powerful man who has all these connections.